My. If you've seen any of my content in the past, you know that I explain something that admittedly I did not develop this idea myself, but it's true nonetheless. But I explain how men exert violence with their fists because biologically a man strength is centered on his upper body, shoulders, chest, whatever. That's because men are the ones who are biologically predisposed to use tools. And those tools are used to grow food, build shelter, defend his family, and then his greater community from threats, whether they be man or beast. And a woman's physical strength is centered in her lower body. This is for the biological designs to carry and birth children. But a woman in interpersonal relationships and interactions with other people, if she wants to exert some sort of a social pressure or I hate using this word because this comes out of the feminine mind, but if she wants to try to do some sort of a bullying type thing, like try to intimidate someone, especially a man, she can't do that physically, right? She can't do that physically because she lacks the physical upper body strength. I mean, you could probably take Ronda Rousey, a champion MMA fighter, and put her in the ring with just an average, physically fit man, and she couldn't take him probably. I mean, she may get a lucky shot in or something, but I'm talking about by and large, she couldn't handle him, even though she's such an elite world class athlete. There's a video going around of this guy that's in about as good physical shape as I am, maybe even fatter, who has two female trained MMA fighters, two of them in the ring with him, and he's just throwing them around like rag dolls. I mean, he's just throwing them around. This is because women, regardless of how athletically trained they are, they lack the physical strength to really contend with a man, even if he's not physically trained. It's biology. You can't change him. So when a woman wants to try to exert some sort of a intimidation, some attempt to kind of like intimidate a man, when she knows that her argument is bullshit, what she'll do is she'll take those tools of feminine violence, because she can't exert violence physically, so she has to do them verbally. She has to do it socially, relationally, but she has to do, because the only weapon she's got is her mouth. So some of her tools of violence are shame, insult, and guilt, character assassination, gossip, the rumor mill, using the nuance of language, making innuendos, those sorts of things. That's all she can do. It's like verbal weaponry. And this is no secret. This isn't something I made up. This is something that's clear throughout history. That's why these memes go around the internet that says, if you ask your wife, can you go out with your buddies? And she says, do whatever you want to do. Definitely do not do whatever you want to do. See, that's a joke about how women exert violence. Do whatever you want to do. No, that's, good and well, that's not what she's doing. Not what she means. So you can always tell when you're arguing with most women, not all, but most. I mean, there are logical thinking, masculine thinking, level-headed, reasonable women out there. In my 54 years, I've met 2 or 3 of them. But for the most part, you can tell when a woman is losing her argument and knows it, because she'll exert those feminine tools of violence. And there's many ways that she does it, but the way that this gal right here is doing it is they take a certain verbal poison, venom, a caustic sort of a little thing, but they won't just go ahead and come on out and be a wench, an overt wench. Nope. What she'll do is she'll wrap up that aggression, that hostility, and that venom, that what my mama called a duck fit, she'll wrap that up to make it look like a term of endearment. And that's what this gal right here opens her comment back to me with. Oh, sweetheart. When she, in fact, does not think I'm her sweetheart. Nope. And then further down there it goes, honey, I'm college educated. Doesn't matter. That right there, this whole comment here tells me that this gal, college educated or not, does not understand how logic works. Doesn't understand it. She's just going with her pride and emotions and her resume. I'll go through it real quick. Oh, sweetheart, that's not true. I've watched her from the very beginning. I doubt you have. I tell you what, I don't even know how to pronounce that name. But I'll tell you what, lady. I have been with her from the very beginning. I mean, I wasn't a big follower of her stuff, but when she first had her first YouTube channel, which doesn't even exist anymore, I saw her content. And there was something very, very, very unique about her content. So why don't you just respond, comment back on this thread, and tell me, just describe her videos, her original videos that she was putting up on YouTube. Describe them for me. Tell me what the set looked like. I mean, tell me whatever you want to tell me. To this decidedly different from her content now, as far as the video scene itself. I'm not talking about the verbiage or the content of the topics. I'm talking about her original videos. Describe them to me, okay? And I mean, because I doubt you've been. I'm talking about from the days when she had like 300 or 400 followers. Okay, so yeah, from the very beginning. Okay, in fact, I've seen her in person several times. Don't care. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me at all. I've never seen her in person. Got no reason to see her in person. This is no one's opinion. This is mine. No, it's not. Because your opinions are lockstep, hand in glove, exactly what the talking heads on the right, it's exactly what they've said. And your opinions, as stated, ma'am, does not include any information that these talking heads on the right that you seem to look up to have not said. So had you done your own research, had you looked for your own evidence and formulated your own opinion, gal, then you would include some of that evidence to support your opinion in your comments. But you don't. You don't include anything that you have reconciled in your own mind, or any conclusions that you've arrived at in your own mind. You don't include anything even close to that in your comments. What your comment is doing is it's just going through, just repeating, like those damn seagulls in Finding Nemo. Mine, 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 mine. Turkeys do the same thing, you know. I don't know if you've ever raised turkeys. I have. When you got a flock of turkeys out there in your pasture, and they're just going along and they're just eating worms and bugs on the grass and everything, you could yell out there at them and go, gobble, 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 gobble. And on perfect cue, they'll in unison, gobble, 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 right back. And that's what you're doing. And these other two people are doing too. And most people who are following these different situations, they're doing the same thing. They're doing the same thing. I mean, they're just repeating. They're just gobbling. Gobble, 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 gobble. Because everybody else is gobbling. Everybody else is gobbling. But if you had actually done any of your own research or investigated anything on your own and developed your own opinion, then your opinion would not be so lockstep exactly what guys like this David J. Harris guy and, these other people you name and everything. It's exactly what they're saying, and it's nothing that they're not saying. See? So, I mean, when you hear an opinion on somebody's video online and you just swallow it, that doesn't make it your opinion. Just because it gives you a positive emotional response, lady, does not make it your opinion. You've just accepted their opinion. See how that works? This is no one's opinion. This is mine. Yeah, I know, because it's your opinion because they gave it to you. They gave it to you. You took it home. You dressed it up. You brushed its hair. You set it over in the corner on your little display shelf. And you said, that opinion is mine now because so-and-so gave it to me. My Lord. I've watched the shows and have been appalled. Appalled. Oh, let me clutch my pearls. I'm appalled that she would say such a thing. Jeez. This is why it took men to create civilization. This is why it takes men to continue maintaining and defending civilization, because most women, they're too busy running around clutching their pearls, being appalled. I'm appalled. I'm appalled to what's come out of her mouth. No, I'm going to wag my finger at her because I disapprove. But you haven't told me what has actually come out of her mouth. You've just told me you're appalled at it, but you hadn't told me what it was. Isn't that funny? I don't know what you mean by what you're doing. Oh, yeah. What you're doing? Oh, that's supposed to be a comma. Oh, or maybe the word is. What you're doing is you're putting words in my mouth. See, that's another thing. That goes back to those female tools of violence. See, and that's part of character assassination. See, because that you're putting words in my mouth, that posits this gal as a victim. See, she wouldn't say that if I was a woman. But since I'm a man, and I'm not just a man, I'm a big man. And not to mention very good looking man, she's positioning herself as a victim. And I'm now a predator who's oppressing her by putting words in her mouth. That's why women do that, and their argument that they're losing is when their words can't support their argument because they're illogical. Well, then they'll start using things like, oh, sweetheart and honey and stuff like that. And then they'll claim to be a victim. Oh, you're putting words in my mouth. I'm using the words that you use. No one's picking on you, lady. In my mouth, telling me that other people are affecting my opinion. Exactly. Honey, here we go. Still no actual evidence of anything that Candace has said that's anti-Semitic. Not the first shred of evidence, not the first quote, video clip, nothing of where she said anything that's hateful, demeaning, berating, even critical of Jewish people as an ethnicity or even a religious group, because there's a lot of non-Hebrews who practice Judaism. Still not the first piece of evidence. So you've tried your feminine violence, and you're going to use some more too before the comment's over. You tried that, and that's not going to work, by the way, darling. So you're putting words in my mouth, and then, honey, here comes. Now you're going to list off your qualifications to try to hold some superior position on the Hill based on your damn paperwork. You don't have to perform. See, you don't have to perform. You just got to look good, right? So you don't have to be smart, but if you can get a college degree, which this is an irrelevant point, but I own two. So, I mean, I'll see your college degree and raise you a second one, but it doesn't matter. Regardless of the fact that I hold 2 college degrees, I can still be wrong. I mean, that's how logic works, sugar pie. Yeah. I'm college educated. I have my own brain. And if you watch, I suppose you mean Candace Owen and not Kansas Owens. If you watch Kansas Owens and you have a brain, see, that's more of that shame, insults, guilt, innuendo, character assassination, slander, rumors, gossips, all kind of stuff. If you have a brain, I don't have to have one. Let's just say I don't have a brain. I don't have a brain at all. But I'd like for you to show me the actual quotes of what Candace Owens has said that's anti Semitic. You can't do it. You can't do it. All you can do is tell me what people who don't like Candace have said about her, and then use these females' weapons of violence here, with if you have a brain, darling, and I'm college educated. Look at my certificate. I don't have to show evidence to support what I claim because I have a degree, right? You know how it works? And again, that kind of thinking is why it took men to build civilization, and it takes men to keep civilization running and to protect civilization. Men and the occasional woman who can actually think with a masculine centered mind that uses logic and reason and not just emotion. You see, I mean, so I've got my college education. I have my own brain, and you have a brain. You could see all the anti-Semitism. Oh, I don't have to show you what she said is anti-Semitic. I'll just accuse her of anti-Semitism, and if you don't see that it's anti-Semitic, well, then you're just an idiot. See, that's some more of that female social violence right there. It goes all the way back to like elementary school, where it's like, well, you're not one of us, so you're not one of the cool kids. And if you want to be one of the cool kids, then you'll agree with us and you'll come be in our group, and you won't challenge us to actually grow the hell up and do something smart. We're just all going to get together and we'll just be the cool kids. That's what it is. If you had a brain, then you could see all the anti-Semitism coming out of her mouth. It's one thing to accuse Jewish people of something, but you better back it up. She hasn't accused Jewish people of anything. And if she has, lady, go get the video clip or post a link to the video clip where she is saying that the Jewish people, that's people who practice Judaism or people who descend from people who practice Judaism, the Jewish people, go find that video clip or that blog post or something that she put up that is criticizing the Jewish people. You can't find it, woman. You can't find it. It's absurd. All three of these comments here, this is why there are so many women. I don't think it's possible. Okay, maybe a few exceptions, but I don't think it's possible to find a woman today who does not have some horror story about at least one ex-boyfriend or ex-husband who was psycho and quote unquote abused her and mistreated her and manipulated her and lied to her. I've known so many women that in the midst of those controlling, manipulative, abusive, according to her, relationships, you could not drag her away from the supposed abuser. Couldn't do it. She's going to hang in there with that dude. She's going to make excuses for him. She's going to defend him. She's in for the long haul because of the mindset of these three comments right here. So common in women. And I've seen many women who have a string of bad relationships like that. They just keep hooking up with the same guy that has a different face. And because the different face comes in, they go, oh, well, this is the same way the other guy behaved when we first met, but maybe this one will be different. And then they end up in the same position over and over and over until they end up in midlife, or even before that sometimes. They're creeping there in their late 20s, early 30s even sometimes, and they're just becoming bitter old women who think that men are trash. But it's because they keep choosing these losers because they don't think logically and critically. They think about their emotions and how they feel about this person and just the optimism that they have that it'll work out this time. And so they keep ending up in those same relationships. And the mindset in these three comments here are perfect examples of why that is. I mean, a man might hook up with a loser, worthless, good-for-nothing woman that manipulates him and mistreats him and humiliates him and everything. But when he finally gets away from her, that dude will usually stay single the rest of his life. I mean, Men make bad decisions too, but we're pretty quick learners, and that's why we have airplanes and fresh water piped into our homes and electricity wired up to our homes and air conditioning. I mean, men make mistakes and they fail too, but by and large, men learn from those mistakes much quicker than women. Women, it's almost like, they see the apple is good to eat, it's beautiful, so they eat of it. And then they come across another apple, and it's beautiful and good to eat, and they eat of it. And then they'll eat the whole damn tree full of apples and got no idea why creation is destroyed. I mean, why you kicking me out of the garden? I didn't do nothing wrong. I'm my own woman. I got a college degree, sweetheart. And so I can tell that apple was beautiful and good to eat. My. I mean, a blind man can see the truth here. A blind man. Ray Charles can read this comment and see what the truth is here. Lord. Anyway, it's one thing to accuse Jewish people of something, but you better back it up. In fact, it's one thing to accuse anyone of anything, but you better back it up. So the irony is obviously lost on you, but it's not me, that I'm asking you to back up what you've accused Candace of. So you're telling me that if someone is going to accuse someone of something, then they better be ready to back it up. Okay, so back up what you've accused her of. That's all I'm asking you to do. Back it up. And don't back it up with your tools of female violence like shame, insult, guilt, innuendo, nuance, character assassination, slander, gossip, stuff, that sort of stuff. That doesn't support your argument. You claim that she has said bad things about the Jewish people. I'm just asking you to prove that. Post the link to the videos, post a link or a screenshot of anything she's written that is demeaning of what you called the Jewish people. She hasn't done it. She hadn't done it. But your talking heads, like and this Andrew dude you're talking about here, your talking heads like him, David J. Harris, the guy whose page this came off of here, they've told you that she said anti-Semitic things. So because they're your friend, you think, it's a parasocial relationship, but they're your friend. And so we're all in the same family. We're all a group. So I'm going to be loyal to my friends. And so that means that Candace is anti-Semitic. She's anti-Semitic. I don't even know what the word anti-Semitic means because they didn't teach me that when I got my college degree that I'm so proud of. But she's anti-Semitic. Gobble, 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 gobble. Got no idea why you're gobbling, but you're gobbling. She's been making wild accusations for the past couple of years. And she came back. I guess you mean she can't back up anything. She's now being sued by the Macrons. She has not been making wild accusations. I don't think it's wild. Whatever. Now, she has, for the Macrons, she hasn't said like that woman is definitely a man. She's done an investigation and she said that she thinks the lady might be and probably is. And she's asked them to just prove that she's not a man. That's what she's done. Anyway, yeah, she lies about that. You don't know if she's lying about that or not. You hadn't seen the paperwork or anything filed for a lawsuit or nothing. You hadn't seen that. Again, your talking heads on the right have told you that the Macrons have sued her and that Candace is lying about them not suing her. See, your talking heads have told you that. They gave you your opinion and you took it and you think it's your opinion, but it's not. You've been told that by other people. And because they're your friend, again, this is why it took men to create civilization and it takes men to maintain and protect civilization today because men work out of hierarchy. Men are not loyal to a group just because they're a part of the group. That's not how it works. Men are loyal to what works. That's what men are loyal to. It's the hierarchy. But women like yourself, you're in your little group, and you're talking heads on the right. They're part of your little group, and you think of yourself as a nebulous part of this sort of a nebulous whole group. So women are typically going to be loyal to that group, regardless of whether it actually produces anything. It's just a matter of being loyal for loyalty's sake. And she came back, and yet she lies about that and says she's not. The woman is a whack job. See, there's some more insults. And she's perpetrating hate against a group of people where she has no proof. She is not, well, she is perpetrating, it's not hate, but she's telling the truth about at least what she claims to be true. I don't know if it's true or not, don't care. But she's telling what she believes to be true about a group of people. And that group of people would be crooked, corrupt politicians. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that either. Nothing wrong with that. But she's not being anti-Semitic. She is not saying demeaning, cruel, hateful things about Jewish people. Or as you said, the Jewish people. It's not. I watched Charlie Kirk's producer Andrew publicly state that was not true, that Charlie was not threatened by his Jewish donor. See, this is why y'all keep ending up with these psycho boyfriends and ex-husbands. So Andrew said it, so it must be true. Now, let's look at the other side. Let's test that logic. See, that's what men do. We think logically. Some women, the occasional one. But let's test what you just offered there as proof, madam. We're going to test that by, hypothetically, let's say that Charlie was threatened by some big Jewish donor, and that TPUSA has a lot of big Jewish donors. I don't know if they do or not, but just to test the logic, let's see if they do. If he was being pressured and threatened by powerful, corrupt Jewish politicians, and he defied them, and then they had him shot in the neck, I don't know if that's what they did or not, but let's just, for the sake of argument, let's test that. Then his producer, Andrew, would know that these people will kill you. So what's he going to do? Is he going to go on the internet and say, yes, this is true, so that he gets shot in the neck? Of course not. So him publicly stating, which doesn't mean a thing about whether it's true or not, publicly stating that was not true, that Charlie was not threatened by this Jewish donor, that they have very few Jewish donors. Him saying that does not mean that what he said was true. Has he publicly opened the donor list for TPUSA? No. He just said it. We don't have that many Jewish donors, and Charlie wasn't being pressured or intimidated by Jewish donors. And then you just say, oh, that's true. And you accept it, which is why so many women keep ending up with these psycho boyfriends. I mean, the next psycho guy comes along and tells them, oh, no, I'm not going to do you like the last psycho. And you go, okay. And next thing you know, you're in a bad relationship. It's absurd how women are so prone to do that. So this Andrew dude says that what Candace says is wrong, offers no proof, no documentation, nothing. He just says that what Candace is saying is wrong. And so you just believe it's wrong. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how that woman's phone number got put in my phone, that text message from that woman with her nude pictures on my, she just texted me by mistake. I don't know who that lady is, baby. It's just this weird number just popped up on my phone. Why is somebody from Taco Bell sending me pictures of her topless? I don't know what happened, baby. Okay, that makes sense. Sometimes that happens, darling. I love you. I love you too. And that's how that conversation goes. And then that woman, when the relationship finally falls apart, she'll go out there in the town and assassinate his character and use rumor and gossip and that sort of stuff about him. You talk about what a low-down good for nothing cheater he was. And then she'll hook up with another one just like him. Because why? Because Andrew stated publicly that he didn't ask that woman for a topless picture of herself. My. I think I married the only smart, logically based woman on the planet. Oh no, that's not really true. I have met some others. I have met, one or two or three others in my life, but they are the exceptions. I promise you that. And this comment is a textbook example of it. Where was I at? Oh, here we go. And then what is Candace? You misspelled her name. And then what does Candace do? She attacks him and Turning Point USA. She is driving the conservatives. She is dividing the conservatives. She is poison. She needs to go. That's what your talking heads are telling you. You have, for one thing, if conservatives have people in their ranks who are devious and malicious and nefarious and are out for their own good and not for the advancement of conservative ideals, which, even though you have a college education, you probably cannot tell me what a conservative actually is without Googling it. So you're probably just repeating the little buzzwords that you've heard the talking heads use, and haven't considered the fact that just because someone says they're a conservative does not mean they're a conservative if they don't follow conservative principles. And I'd be willing to bet, miss, I'm college educated, sweetheart, darling, honey, sugar pie. I bet you don't have any idea what the principles of conservatism would be. But your talking heads have told you that she's dividing conservatives. Okay? If there is nefariousness, maliciousness, corruption, evil intent within the conservatives, then they need to be divided. And that's something that a masculine mind understands. But again, the feminine mind sees themselves as a part of a larger group because they're socially minded. So the feminine mind, because it's tuned to nurture children and take care of a home and a family, so it's tuned towards keeping the group together and maintained and healthy and whole, because that's what mothers are supposed to be doing at home. See, but that doesn't work in that greater world outside of that home, because then you end up with cancers, ideologically speaking, within the body of the people. And those cancers need to be cut out. But the women will defend the tumors because keeping the group together is what's really important to them, and not actually accomplishing the goal of the group. You see, so nefarious people, interlopers, people who are not conservative, call themselves conservatives. And they're on the conservative side of the aisle, but the ideals, the principles that they're promoting are not conservative ideals. They're ideals from the left. But they're over here in conservative media, and they're running for office as conservatives, and they're telling people, I'm conservative, and most people are like you who do not know what it means to be a conservative. So they say, no, I'm not going to cheat on you like your last boyfriend. And you and most women go, okay, well, that's a relief. And you protect them. He only slaps me when he's been drinking, and stay with him. I mean, well, he's had a really stressful week at work. That's why he talks to me like that. Men don't do that. Men don't do that. Well, some men do. Weak, pathetic men do. They look at their feet. I call them change hunters. The wife goes acting crazy, and it's even worse when she's not even his wife. She's just some gal he's with. And the woman goes acting crazy, and what do? They look down at the ground. They look like they trying to find some loose change folks done dropped on the ground. Hey, change hunters. Oh, there are some men like that, and they're weak, pathetic bums, and other men raise them. we haze them and raise them and scorn them and everything because they're weak men. But by and large, men don't do that. Don't matter how bad that woman's week was at work. Don't matter if she's been drinking. It don't matter how her daddy or her ex-boyfriends or whoever treated her in her past. She gets to run that pie hole acting crazy. Tell her, hey, you need to calm the hell down. I'm not playing this. I mean, he'll stand up to, nope. He'll tell his buddies, man, she crazy as hell. Acting like that, want to talk to me any old damn kind of way. I mean, he'll tell his friends. He'll tell his family, look, the woman, nope, she'll put up with it. She'll make excuses for it, and you can't drag her away from him. Why? Because the woman is focused on keeping the group unified together because of her natural maternal drive to keep the family unified and together. She is dividing the conservatives. If the conservatives need to be divided, then I'm all for her dividing the conservatives. That's a good thing. She is poison and needs to go. Most medicines you take are poison, but sometimes you're sick and you need to take a little bit of poison to get rid of what's even more unhealthy for you than the poison you're taking. Chemotherapy will get you just as close to death as you can possibly be without dying because the doctors are trying to kill off the cancer. So if there are people on the right who are conservative, so there are a lot of people on the right who don't even claim to be conservatives, but they're on the right. So to say I'm a conservative, that doesn't, well, you don't understand what conservatism is, I can tell, but yeah. But if there are people over here on the right who need to be expelled or at least exposed, yeah, we need poison. I used to love listening to her. Now I think, I don't even know what PPD is. Now I think PPD, whatever that is, has caused her to become unhinged. You, Heather, have the same challenge if you want to take up the gauntlet. The same one that gal up there with the name I can't pronounce has. Send the receipts. Post the videos of what she's done or said that is so unhinged. If she's anti-Semitic, tell me what she said that is hateful, mean, or demeaning about people based on the fact that they're Jewish. Okay? That's what I'm at. That's what anti-Semitism is. Based on the fact that they're a Jew, post to me her criticism, demeaning hatefulness toward them based on nothing but their status as a Jew. You can't find it, woman. Not any more than a weird name up there can find it. Chelsea Marie. That girl is off her rocker. I was good to chime in on I think what you meant to say. I was going to chime in on the Justin Baldone Blake Lively case, but she's weirdly obsessed with a man who wasn't her friend when he died. I mean, this again, all three of these comments are why women, so many of them, it's like epidemic levels of women have histories of going from crazy man to crazy man to crazy man to crazy man to crazy man. Because y'all are so easily convinced. All someone's got to do, if you have some respect for them at all, is tell you something. And based on your respect for that person, you'll just believe what they say. Well, that's my friend. They wouldn't lie to me. Well, that's my friends. They know what they're talking about. I mean, so she's weirdly obsessed with a man who wasn't her friend when he died. You don't know if Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens were friends when he died or not. But the talking heads, the ones who have a lot to lose if what Candace is saying has any validity to it, those people have told you that he wasn't friends with Candace when he died. See, they've told you that. The people that Candace is criticizing, or at least pointing some suspicion towards. So those people who, if there's any truth to what Candace is saying, want to try to divert any suspicion or attention away from them. Those people told you that Charlie and Candace weren't friends when he died. And you believe it because you respect those talking heads. Oh, well, why would they lie? I don't know, to protect their money and influence and power, and to not go to prison, possibly, but you're convinced that they weren't friends when he died. So, I mean, good for you. But you don't have any reason to believe that they were not friends when he died. You don't have any reason outside of the fact that the people at TPUSA and some other talking heads on the right told you that. So you just said, well, this one's not going to cheat on me with my sister like the last two did. That kind of stuff. And that's why it took men to develop civilization, and it takes men to maintain it and protect it today. Because women will believe whatever somebody they respect tells them. Not all women, not all. I've said many times that there are an extreme minority of women out there who can think logically, and they can think in a masculine way. Okay, there are women out there. Ain't none of them on this screenshot right here though, and I hadn't seen but one or two of them in the bigger comment thread on this post who have. Most all of them, they're like a bunch of turkeys out there. Gobble, 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 gobble. They're just gobbling along, repeating everything that these talking heads tell them. And the whole time, like this, strange name gal up here, Dia said, no, this is my own opinion. It's your opinion because the talking heads handed your opinion to you and told you this is your opinion. That's why it's your opinion, and that's why I'm Dane.